All right, let's reduce the volume on that. Alrighty. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories has been defeated. And I'm gonna go ahead and give my thoughts on the game right now. If you really love this game, if you don't like hearing people say negative things about it, I'm gonna say a lot of negative things about it. So there's your disclaimer. Okay. The number one thing I just want to say is there are two sides of this game that I need to convey, and I think it's actually kind of important to convey both of those sides. On one hand, we have a really cool card game system that, you know, it needs some fine tuning. It needs some finesse to it, but it has a really cool framework, and you know, all it needs is a little bit more tooling. You know, it's cool. And then we have a Kingdom Hearts game, and this Kingdom Hearts game is very reminiscent of other Kingdom Hearts games, but it's where like the core franchise is here, and I know there's only one installment before this, but the core franchise is here. Chain of Memories is like over here, like over here, you know, and there's no line connecting them. Okay, they're like these two separate points, and the reason I say this is because Chain of Memories is a really bad Kingdom Hearts game, but it's a pretty cool spin-off game. And it's just kind of weird to think about it that way, because Kingdom Hearts, like, at least for me, you don't go from Kingdom Hearts 1, which in my opinion was a very, I'm just gonna say it wasn't a good game for me. It had way too many problems. And so when you go into Chain of Memories, it doesn't make an effort to fix those problems. It just changes all the systems. And that is not a good way to go about creating another, like, a step up in the story. I'm not getting the correct word there, but you know, like, you have a sequence here. You know, one, and you have Chain of Memories, and then you have two, and then whatever comes after two. And if all of these are supposed to connect, you don't change the entire system that the first game built in the second game that you're supposed to play. So I wanted to get that out there first, because we have a cool spin-off game and we have a horrible Kingdom Hearts game. So with that being said, what was the story? I said really early on, maybe like 6 hours in, I have not found a hint of the story. 12 hours in, I could not find a hint of the story. I have beaten the game, and I have yet to find a hint of the story. As a matter of fact, if there is a story buried in this game, it's rendered null and void, because they just throw it all away at the end. Oh, you're losing your memories. Oh, we need to get them back. Okay, we have a quest. You know, it's not a story, but it's a quest. Something that we need to do. There's a lot of connecting points that are missing in that quest to make it a story, but we have something to do. So when we get to the end, it just destroys it all. It's like, yeah, you're going to forget all about this, and you're going to get your memories back. You're not going to remember anything that happened. There's 2 or 3 things that could be built upon this. The first thing is Riku now has like this clone guy. Fake Riku. So in Kingdom Hearts 2, they could do something with that. These organization members, they're probably going to be important. So something will be done with them. And then we have Naminé. Something could be done with her. But I think that line of thinking is incorrect. I'll come back to that. Yeah. Oh, is that it? There was always sleep between part and meat. There was always sleep between part and meat, and I let us part like we always do. In a world without you, I'll dream of you. I come to let us meet with our usual words. Full street. What was the first thing when something part and meat and all right, let's reduce the volume again. Okay, so yeah, so it is my firm belief that there is no story in this game, and if there is a story, it is a filler story. If you ever watched Naruto, there's tons of filler stories in those that anime where you have the main story and then you have this offshoot that just doesn't matter. And this game doesn't matter. Sure, you could say, oh, Kingdom Hearts 2 will totally build on what happened in this game. Well, the problem is that line of thinking is wrong because, like, you should only consider Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories as their own self-contained games here. You know, like, they are the franchise up to this point. Kingdom Hearts 1 does something with its story. It's not very good, but it does something with its story. Chain of Memories doesn't do anything with its story and then gets rid of what could be interpreted as its story altogether. That to me is it's awful. It's here's a charged phrase. This game was a waste of time. I might be proven wrong in Kingdom Hearts 2. They might make this game blow up into absolute proportions and it'll be amazing and you're like, oh man, I get that. But as of right now, this game was a waste of time to play. Was it satisfying? The story-wise? No, because there wasn't a story. Did it feel complete? No. How was the pacing? Here's a weird thing about the pacing. The story sequences, they always happened at the end of these, we're going to call them vignettes. And that's not a proper way to say it, but like, when you go to a world, you experience something that is completely irrelevant to anything else that's going on in the game. And then afterwards, you experience these story sequences. And, you know, you learn some stuff about where you are, I guess. And I guess in that respect, the pacing is actually really good. You're always going forward in the narrative rather than kind of bouncing all over the place and losing sight of what's going on. So I guess the pacing's good. Did I like the story? No, because there is no story. Gameplay and mechanics and design. What are some gameplay elements that stand out? Well, I don't really have much to say here, but I do need to comment on premium cards. If it wasn't for that person in chat yesterday that told me about premium cards, I might still be on the same boss battle that I was yesterday, Vexen, and I might have never figured out what was going on with my deck. I might have been able to look it up, maybe. I'm not sure. I might have considered grinding it out. I might have just put the game down from there. I kind of got saved by someone in chat giving me some help. And the main issue here with premium cards is, as far as I'm aware, there is no documentation to tell me what premium cards do. So I spent the whole game, and yes, I assumed that making a regular card a premium card would make it better. But is there any way to interpret premium? You know, like a premium card. If you go into any other card system, if you got a regular common card and you got a premium common card, one of them you're automatically going to assume is better than the other. And with the premium system, I would arguably say that premium cards are worse than regular cards. I would arguably say that. I wouldn't definitively say that because I don't actually understand the system that well. So who knows? Some of the combat. I mentioned that they made a large change to the battle system. This is not the battle system from Kingdom Hearts 1, and it's a really strange departure. The card system is initially very strange. I mentioned that I actually like the card system. I think it's a great foundation. But, you know, it's still a Kingdom Hearts game in the sense of it's an action RPG, but it changes the formula, it changes the strategy, and it changes a lot of how you play the game. And that is just not the direction that the Kingdom Hearts series should go, in my opinion. It's very complex. It introduces complex mechanics early on in large quantities, which is a big contrast to Kingdom Hearts 1, where they were introduced too slow. In both of these cases, I found them to be a negative, but I will say that I prefer getting introduced mechanics too fast rather than too slow. They just kind of dump everything on you in like the first world or two, and it's just like, whoa, man, you know, like give me a little bit of time to process, you know, like, all right, teach me slights over here and teach me about these cards over here, and like actually give me explanations about what premium cards do and things like that, you know. What else did I want to say? There was something else I wanted to say about combat, but I guess I'll just move on. I don't really have anything to mention about the dungeons. I think that they didn't... I don't think they had any impact on anything. They did feel like padding to me. They didn't add anything to the story. They were just there to be there. And to be fair, Kingdom Hearts 1 follows a similar formula to that, only they have a little bit more impact in that game. No cardinal sins that I can think of. Although honestly, this would actually make me think of maybe inventing a new cardinal sin of taking a core franchise and then just like throwing that all away mechanics wise and just like, let's start something new, something totally completely different. But that probably won't happen. Some miscellaneous stuff, like for the sound, music, and voice acting. Music was okay. Most of the time it fell in the background except for those few standout tracks that I'm just familiar with. Voice acting, it's Kingdom Hearts voice acting, so it's not very good. It's on the downward slope of passable, which could be arguably construed as bad. But I'm pretty lenient on voice acting, so I don't really bag on that kind of stuff too often. There were some voice actor changes in here. I know, Narv, you and I noticed this fairly early on. Sora's voice actor changed, and Goofy's voice actor most likely changed. If we heard that correctly. There might have been other voices in there too that just didn't catch on to. That's not a negative or a positive or anything like that. It's just something that I noticed. The graphics, I like the graphics. I know that this was a handheld game on like the Game Boy Advanced. So it's really, really cool that they remade this game pretty much in its entirety. I really like that they put forth that effort into this. You know, I may not like the game, but I appreciate the game quite a bit, and I appreciate that they remade it, and made it accessible. I do feel that it would be, I believe that there are movie format, I guess games or something like that, in this collection. I think this should have been one of them. Although I guess with the unique system, it kind of makes sense that they would want people to play around with it. So yeah, I like the visuals. I think they look pretty good. They do continue the Kingdom Hearts 1 thing, where in a scene where they're discussing things, they'll have one character model where the mouth texture will move to denote talking. And then later on in that same scene, sometimes like the next round of dialogue, they will change out the character model completely to a higher resolution model where the actual model of the character speaks. And that's kind of jarring for me. And it's really weird, and I don't understand the reasonings for that. That's also not a negative, or, well, it's not a positive. It's more like of a neutral thing, where I'm genuinely curious why that's the case. Is that like part of the remastering process where they weren't able to fit in all the models and all the cutscenes, so they had to like go half and half? I don't know. Favorites. I actually liked some of those evil organization members. I think they look cool. I think that they had some interesting pieces of dialogue, even though the majority of the time it was kind of cheesy. I like Axel, my alter ego. He has great hair. He shoots fire around. Truthfully, if I were to be in Avatar: The Last Airbender, I might be part of the Fire Nation as well. Maybe the Earth Nation too. It could be Fire Nation, Earth Nation. It's like right there, I could be convinced to go Earth Nation. I didn't really have any favorite well, actually, that's not true. I really like the look of Castle Oblivion, the very last area. It was basically just white with, kind of ornate architecture, but it looked nice. Well, I like that. Let me see. Some stuff that I disliked. I have here, the combat system is very fascinating, but a poor follow-up to Kingdom Hearts 1, which also didn't have a good combat system. I like the combat, but once again, there's this really cool combat, and then there's a Kingdom Hearts game, and they just don't mesh when you already have Kingdom Hearts 1 combat. And if the developer's watching, I'm sure, you've already looked at this game. You already know what's going on. I don't think I can have anything that's going to, I guess, really further develop what's going on in Kingdom Hearts, because there's already so many Kingdom Hearts games out there. But what I will say is I think this game is built on a great foundation, and it has some really fascinating systems. As in the card system, the Moogle system of purchasing cards. All of these things, the dungeon system, all of these things could be really improved upon and created into like a spin-off series. And I truthfully would like to see something like that. I think the card system has a lot of issues that could be remedied with a sequel, even though I'm not saying sequel to Kingdom Hearts, just a sequel to the mechanics and the systems of this game. So I'd like to see that. That would be cool. That I think is gonna wrap up my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. So far I'm 0 for 2 in the Kingdom Hearts franchise run. I didn't like Kingdom Hearts 1. I thought it was a very aged game, and a lot of its design principles and mechanics and really story design and things like that just don't hold up at all in the year of 2018. And it's kind of unfortunate, but you know, so that's just that's what happens with some games. You know, Kingdom Hearts 1 came out in like 2002. You know, it's really old game. And then Chain of Memories, I don't really like the game, mostly just because it doesn't do anything with the franchise. I don't think that we should rely on a next installment to justify the previous game. I think these games need to stand alone on their own. This game does that in a very simplistic manner of just being a game. It doesn't further the franchise at all. So, with that being said, it's 6 o'clock right now, so not going to do Kingdom Hearts 2 today. Probably tomorrow, though. Yeah, let's just lock it in. Well, I'm gonna start Kingdom Hearts 2 tomorrow. And Kingdom Hearts 2 is gonna be kind of the deal breaker here. If Kingdom Hearts 2 isn't enjoyable for me at like if I can't get through that game, that's where the franchise playthrough ends. I most likely see myself beating Kingdom Hearts 2. The camera would have to be really, really bad. And the mechanics would just... Like, if they didn't improve on anything from Kingdom Hearts 1, I could see myself setting it down. But I think I'll see Kingdom Hearts 2 through. So we'll start that tomorrow. I don't know what time. I don't know. 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I don't know. I wake up pretty early. Depends if I'm feeling... when I'm feeling it, but I'll at least start it. I don't know how long I'll stream it for, but I'll at least start it, and we'll take it from there.